Welcome to Chinese news. It comes from China. 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 It's not racist at all, no.
It's not racist at all, no.
Newsweek.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. Go for it.
Newsweek. What is this? Taiwan mobilizes military for war as China threatens Nancy Pelosi.
Yes, she's on the move. Nancy is she's on the move, man.
Yeah, part of the
so fun.
Part of the slow news day, I think, is an anticipation for what might happen with Taiwan and Pelosi, and everyone's just kind of on edge. So let's hear what Newsweek has to say. There's a lot of articles obviously published on this topic, but we just start things off here. Taiwan has reportedly mobilized its air defense forces in preparation for war as U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's possible visit to the island continues to inspire warnings from China. The mobilization of Taiwan's forces was reported Monday by SET News, a news channel in the East Asian island. SET reported that in response to Pelosi's purported visit, Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense halted the leave of some officers and soldiers, as well as had its air defense forces begin readying for potential conflict with China. Newsweek has not been able to independently verify the report. Newsweek reached out to the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office, a de facto embassy in New York City, for comment. Unverified news reports in July that Pelosi, a Democratic lawmaker from California, will visit Taiwan in August has led to repeated threats from Chinese officials and state media. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian said last month that such a visit would result in the U.S. seeing quote-unquote consequences. And that consequences. And, phone ringing. No, sorry. And that China is against, quote, any form of official interaction between the U.S. and the Taiwan region, end quote. And then another quote here. The U.S. must not arrange for Speaker Pelosi to visit the Taiwan region and must stop official interactions with Taiwan, he said. Quote, should the U.S. side insist on doing otherwise, China will take strong and resolute measures to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity. The U.S. must assume full responsibility for any ensuing consequences. Pelosi, who is second in line in the U.S. presidency, arrived in Singapore early Monday on her tour of Asia that will allegedly include a stop in Taiwan. U.S. General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said last week that the military would work to ensure her safety if, quote, there's a decision made that Speaker Pelosi or anyone else is going to travel. And continues on here, but I think we get the crux of it.
They just give some background and stuff. It's very interesting. She ended, she was being real coy about whether she was going to take off, do the trip or not. And even more so, whether or not that trip would include a trip to Taiwan or not. Now, I did go ahead the other episode and made a prediction, or at least pontificated on the possibility of, hey, the world is in a weird spot. We're all waiting to see exactly how World War III is going to start. This would be a good opportunity. You got Pelosi sort of making, for some reason, for really unprovoked, no reason at all, she's taking these trips to Asia for some sort of diplomatic, dalliance of some kind. And, I've kind of mentioned, you could see her flying. She's going to stop in Taiwan, but something happens to the plane or the airport she's supposed to land in. And so she has to make an emergency landing in China, and they apprehend her and take her hostage. And boom, we have to go to World War III, something like that.
Yep.
What did not occur to me, Gons, and I can't believe it didn't. What did not occur to me is none of that needs to happen. None of the airport nonsense, the planes, nothing, because China and much of the world, by the way, including it being the official stance of the United States government, is that Taiwan is a part of China already. So she doesn't have to land in mainland China at all for the Chinese to
detain her,
to apprehend her. Even landing in Taiwan, as far as the Chinese and much of the world is concerned, is landing in China. And she's in a C-40 C military aircraft and most likely has some jet fighters flying with her.
It won't be subtle when she arrives.
Right. Now you have U.S. military property landing in China, for all intents and purposes. They're straight up saying that would be an invasion. That counts as a military invasion by the U.S. Nancy landing in Taiwan. Now, a couple more of the fun details. dailymail.co.uk. The headline is Pelosi in peril. U.S. government Boeing C-40C carrying House Speaker Nancy Pelosi departs San Fran for Asia as China threatens unbearable consequences if she makes a stop in Taiwan. And let's take a second and see if my highlights. Yes, they're still here. Okay, so it kind of gives the rundown that we already gave. It mentions 2 days ago, I believe, China started doing live fire military exercises in the Taiwan Strait. So just kind of to show off and show strength, their intention. Military.
This could be, again, I still think Pelosi is doing kind of something for China. It could be an excuse for China to show or flex their military might, to say, hey, we've arrived. We are here. We're not, people think, oh, China, US thing, but like militarily we're here,
Yeah.
Could be.
Well, and they've been provoking Taiwan in the words of US media. They've been provoking Taiwan for months now, maybe even a year or so, flying planes in their airspace, firing missiles into their shipping lanes because, China wants to send a message. Basically, this is ours. You're ours. We can fly our planes wherever we want. So they've been doing all sorts of stuff. But yes, as soon as and the timing was interesting. It was like right when Nancy took off, they started firing live fire from 2 vessels, 2 Chinese, a destroyer and a frigate, just shooting off into the ocean, just showing off. Now, Beijing, I'll pick up here. Beijing has reacted furiously to the prospective visit of the third-ranking official in the U.S. government to Taiwan. It needs to be noted that, Nancy Pelosi is the third in line to become president. So this
Joe
isn't
goes down,
just
Kamala goes down. It's the Nancy show.
Yeah. So, if something happens to Nancy, it's not just, some senator, it's not just some politician. It's third in line to be president, which is, at least on paper, a pretty big deal. Let's see here. Xi Jinping's latest warnings to the U.S. come a day after Twitter temporarily suspended his account. Oh, this is the guy who was threatening. Here's this quote. This was his tweet that got him banned. If U.S. fighter jets escort Pelosi's plane into Taiwan, it is an invasion. The PLA, that's the People's Liberation Army, the Chinese army. The PLA has the right to forcibly dispel Pelosi's plane and the U.S. fighter jets, including firing warning shots and making tactical movements of obstruction. If ineffective, then shoot them down, Xi Jinping had written in a now deleted tweet. I thought this movements of obstruction was interesting. Just sort of getting in the way of Nancy, flying your plane in front of Nancy's plane. I don't know if they would risk some sort of collision or not, but just making clear
that would be more of a direct
to threatening Nancy.
Yeah, that would be more of a direct attack, but there is a possibility of some plausible deniability too, with some Chinese rockets falling from space.
What? Oh, yeah, we'll get there. Hold on.
Oh, okay, you got more. Right.
It goes on. The speaker has not confirmed whether she will visit the island democracy during an Asian tour. In response to a question about the potential Taiwan trip on Friday, she said, I don't talk about my travel because it's a security issue. Okay, Nancy, it's a security issue. But I don't know, man, the way things are going, I've been listening to this podcast on the Korean War recently, and in the U.S., the Korean War is considered the forgotten war. Not a lot of people know much about it. We don't even really think about it. We don't really even talk about it. And there's a lot of reasons for that, I've learned, because it doesn't make us look very good. But there's also some very interesting parallels between the Korean War and what we're seeing now in regards to lining ourselves up against China and Russia, plans to purposefully provoke a war against both China and Russia in sort of the Hail Mary attempt to divert their resources away from Korea. And you can kind of see that, in this case, Ukraine is kind of the Korea in this case. We're using Ukraine, and Taiwan could be another version of it. I think if they want World War III, which these lizard people do, this would be a great time to do it. And Pelosi might just be on the sacrificial altar. Who knows? But even the threat to Nancy Pelosi that is grounds for war. Yeah, well. And you're right. It could be as simple as something falling from space.
It could, oh, thank you. It could be, yeah. Because Reuters reported, a headline here, get away. Chinese rocket falls to Earth. NASA says Beijing did not share information. So another domain. We're looking at all the domains today. We got the ocean, we got land, we got space. It says here that Washington, July 30th, a Chinese rocket fell back to Earth on Saturday over the Indian Ocean. It already happened then. Never mind. False theory. Unless there's more debris.
There could be more.
Could be more, I guess. If there's no information given and shared to NASA, then, I guess we can be concerned that something else can. Because if it does, then China can go, hey, we didn't know. Sorry. But
well, this is funny. If you've been listening to the show the past few years, this is the third time this has happened.
I know, the article mentions
the Chinese space agencies are just launching rockets and not telling anybody and letting them fall down to Earth, which you're not supposed to do as far as whatever international norms or something. But they'll just let these gigantic rockets just enter the atmosphere and endanger anybody below them.
Yeah.
One of them landed in Australia a couple of years back, and the last one landed in the ocean. I guess this one mostly landed in the ocean too. But
it was the Indian Ocean. Yeah. It's well, we'll see. It's just one of those topics where it's along with the Nancy Pelosi drama, just continue the tensions, especially with quote unquote space in the space domain militarily. We just saw Russia say, hey, we're leaving the International Space Station. We're doing our own thing. It'll take a couple of years, but hey, we'll see ya. And same kind of thing with China. They got their own space program going. So it's very interesting to see all the domains be considered in this warfare. All the areas. War.
I know what China should do to sort of justify any actions against Nancy.
What's that?
She's flying in a giant military plane. She's got jets with her. She's jet setting all around. She's a climate criminal, Gons.
Oh, that is she is.